Hello everyone, Krystal Stearns here with North Point Bank to talk about land loans and construction loans. A little bit about myself. I've been in the industry for over 15 years here in Colorado Springs. We are a national lender, but my branch is here in beautiful Colorado. I have a high producing team. We closed 85 loans this month. It's been hectic and crazy and fun, and I get a lot of questions about land loans and construction loans. So I wanted to come on here and try to give you guys as much information as possible, and then I'm available to answer questions. I mentioned my team so that you guys know we're never too busy. We just have a solid team to make sure we can handle high volume and take really good care of our clients, close on time, make sure that you're educated through the process, all the good stuff. North Point Bank is a federally chartered bank, so like I said, we do lend nationwide. We do have portfolio programs like the one we're going to talk about today, the land loans and construction loans. Those are offered in what's called footprint states. So it's only available in about 25 states. So before we make any decisions, get with me first to make sure that we're in your state. Obviously, we're in Colorado. And we offer just different portfolio programs, meaning if it doesn't fit in the Fannie Freddie box or a government loan box, we do have different options for you, and this is one of them. So we'll jump right into land loans. So land loans are so that you have property to build your custom home on, and sometimes you can pay cash, but with prices, it makes it difficult. So we do have that option now. And basically what you would do is figure out your area, get with a real estate agent, go look at some different properties, and then once you decide on the one, you'll make an offer. We have a few different options. We have a 1-year adjustable rate mortgage, a 3-year, and a 5-year. And I know when you hear adjustable rate mortgages, sometimes people cringe. They might have gotten burned in the day. But the way that works for this loan is to get you to build. It's just to get you the land so you can start the construction process. And I'll touch in a minute on why we usually don't do those together. So you have your 1-year arm, which means after 12 months, it can adjust up to 1% per year with a cap of 5. So if your rate starts at 5% and you keep that loan and you don't start construction, if it went up 1% per year, it could end up at 10%. Doesn't mean it will. And again, our goal here is to get you the land, to get you into construction. So the 1-year option is 20% down. So if you get a property for $200,000, you'll need about $40,000 down plus closing cost. If you need a longer term, let's say you're relocating to another state, you're not ready to start construction in a year, you can do a 3-year or a 5-year arm, and those are 35% down. So just keep that in mind. If you do need a longer term, we have that. It just requires more down because it's considered higher risk. So when it comes to lending, everything's based on risk, right? The lender doesn't know you from Adam. Just like you might not loan your next door neighbor that you've never met $5,000, the lender is loaning you, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So everything is based on risk. So when it comes to land, it's higher risk because it's not real property. So it's harder to resell on the foreclosure market. So they want you to have more down. So if something does happen, at least they've got a little bit of equity to hopefully recoup their loss. So that's kind of where they look at it and why a lot of lenders don't lend on land, because it is higher risk. So that's our in-house program that we have and give you that opportunity so that, again, you can turn it into a construction loan. The land does need to be buildable, and we want you to intend to build on that within 5 years. And again, these are North Point's rules. I don't know other companies the way they do them. I know just in comparison, it's a really competitive program, but we have our own separate rules because, again, it's in-house financing. We'll lend up to 50 acres, and we'll lend up to $500,000. And there are exceptions to different things, but that's kind of the general. The minimum credit score requirement is a middle score. So out of your 3 scores, get rid of the highest, get rid of the lowest. We go off the middle. For land, it's 680. But then for construction, it's 700 to 720. So if you're in that lower bracket, we do want to work on your credit as soon as possible. This is definitely a planning process, not something that you want to just jump in head first. You really want to plan and have everything lined up of how you're going to do it so that we put you in the best loan, the best situation. So once you find the land that you love, you will go under contract. They take about 30 to 45 days for closing, depending on the area. Appraisers are pretty backed up right now, so that could delay the process a little bit. But once you find the land, you'll have your agent write up a contract, And it's a normal loan process. You'll give earnest money. We'll do the normal qualification on our end, income qualifying, assets, credit, all the fun stuff. I do highly recommend that you get qualified for the construction loan at the same time as getting pre-approved for the land. You don't want to qualify for land and then now have land that you can't build on because the construction loan's out of your budget. So just keep that in mind ahead of time. You'll want to get things checked out like the well, if there's a septic. You'll want to find out about electric. If there's not electric on the property, what is it going to cost to get there? Because that can get costly. So those are the things that you'll want to talk through with your agent and get inspections and things done. You also want to make sure that it's not difficult to build on, like slopes and hills and things like that. So once you find your land, go under contract. We're good. We close, normal closing like you would do on a purchase of a normal home. Now you own the land. Now we can start the construction process. So the reason why it's hard to do the land loan and the construction loan together is the process of the construction is so time consuming of getting your specs, your plans, your budget. And then the builder's going to want to see the land that you want to build on to make sure that it works for the kind of home that you want and to make sure that it's something that they're qualified to do. So it's hard to have all that done within, a 45-day closing on the land. So by doing them separately allows you a little bit more time. So then what you'll do is you'll start your construction process and you own the land over here. You have a land loan, right? Now we've got a construction loan that we're going to start. We'll take your specs, your plans, your budget, and we'll do an appraisal based on the whole picture. So we'll see what it's worth with this particular house on this land that you own. We want to make sure we're lending you the right amount, right? If you're asking to borrow $1 million and it's worth $800,000, then we need to work on that budget. So the appraiser will look for comps that are comparable to the home that you're building and the kind of property that you've chosen. So once we have that appraisal and we say, okay, you want to borrow $1 million, we agree it's worth that, then we can start the process. And then your down payment is determined by the purchase price. So for example, you can do as little as 5% down, but then once you start getting in the higher loan amounts, you'll need 10% down and it goes up from there. Anything with less than 20% down does require private mortgage insurance, just like a regular Fannie Freddie loan. So keep that in mind as well. So now that you have your land, you have your builder, you've got everything figured out, we're going to start the loan process. So we do what's called a one-time close. And what this basically means is you qualify for the full amount up front and you close on that full amount up front. So I'll use the example of $1 million. So let's say it's $1 million. You're going to put down 20%. You're doing a loan for $800,000. So you have this loan here, kind of like a line of credit, and you'll take draws on this line of credit throughout the process. So your first draw pays off that land loan if you have one. And then your next draw will pay for different things that we work with the builder. So generally foundation starts first and then they'll start framing and whatnot. And they'll say, okay, we've done this work. We need a draw for X amount of money. We will send the appraiser back out to make sure that the work has been completed. And then we will give the builder a draw based on the work that has been done. If they need a draw prior, then that is something that we can request to get approved for. But generally, the builder will already have their reserves to cover the upfront costs, and then we basically are reimbursing them. The nice thing is you're only paying on the portion that you owe at the time on that draw amount. So let's say your land was $160 and your first draw was $100,000. Your payment is based on $260,000 versus the full $800, and it's interest only. So it gives you a more affordable payment, which is nice. As far as the builders that you choose, we do have to do a screening process with them. We do have to check their license, their references, make sure they have the proper insurance, check, for their reputation, things like that. So we do need to have them go through that process to make sure that they are a builder that we can work with. A lot of times people ask about building their own home. Unfortunately, this is considered very risky to lenders, so they don't love this idea. If you're a builder full-time, that is your job, then yes, you can do a self-build. There's different qualification requirements for it. But if you're someone who's handy and you know how to finish out a basement, things like that, but your full-time job is in IT, we won't allow you to do a self-build. We really want a reputable builder who has the experience and that can just do everything and make sure it's all done complete and right and all that good stuff. Because again, it's all about risk. So the lender does draws versus giving the builder the $800,000 up front to make sure that they complete the project, and then the lender isn't going to lend to you personally to do your own build because of the risk that's involved. As far as insurance goes, there is a builder risk policy that your builder will obtain, and that covers things that can happen throughout the build process. And then once the whole construction project is completely done, then you'll get your regular hazard insurance, just like a regular house. When you have your different draws, there's usually about 5, then you'll have your final inspection done by the appraiser that says, okay, great, everything's been done. Here's the completed product. Here's your total square footage. Here's your value. And then you get your certificate of occupancy. You move in, pretty much done. The process does take a little while. You do have to meet with architects and designers and everything, but it's fun. And this is very different from, a tract home builder in a neighborhood. This is truly custom build, start to finish on your own land, and you get to pick all the fun stuff. There is a misconception. I get calls every now and then where they're like, I just can't find anything I can afford. I'm just going to build myself. It's not necessarily cheaper. I'm sure there's different ways to cut corners, but just keep that in mind that a tract builder, they have tons of supplies, tons of subcontractors. So the process is just completely different versus when you go custom and you're picking out your own tile and your own flooring and, you're getting it in a smaller section versus a big builder who can buy it in bulk. So it's not necessarily cheaper, but it gives you different options and opportunities, building on land, building your own thing, that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much the gist of it. A lot of information at once. But my team and I are here to answer any questions that come up. If you are looking to start the build process and you just don't know where to go, we're here for you. We can answer all the basic questions and all the difficult ones. We have a lot of experience with this. On my team, I have the person that ran our construction department, and my processor is in charge of construction loans. So we really have a good hand on it. So if it is something that you are considering, we're absolutely here to help you. Feel free to call or email us with any questions. I'll get all the contact information for you. And I'm so glad to have you guys all here listening to me. I hope you learned something. I hope it was informative. And I hope that I answered all the questions that come up. But again, if there's anything I missed, just feel free to reach out. And I'll touch on different programs later on too. Just trying to get as much information out there as possible. Make you all informed consumers, informed business partners so that you have as much knowledge at your fingertips as possible. So thanks again for joining me. Have a wonderful day. Hope to hear from you soon.